You are 47 years old. Nothing is wrong. You have food, a home, maybe a family, maybe the career you once wanted. And yet, one morning, a thought arrives that you cannot put back. Is this it? So you imagine quitting your job, moving somewhere warm, buying a motorcycle you do not know how to ride, starting a podcast nobody requested. We call this a midlife crisis. But if you asked a human living 40,000 years ago whether he was having one, he would probably stare, wonder why you knew his age, and ask whether you had seen the missing spear. Ancient people felt regret, grief, jealousy, boredom, and fear of death. Their minds were human minds. But our version of middle-age crisis would have been much harder to create. Not because ancient humans were wiser, because their lives gave middle age a completely different meaning. The phrase midlife crisis is surprisingly young. It became famous after psychoanalyst Elliot Jacques published an essay in 1965 about people confronting a new awareness. Life was no longer an endless climb. They could see the downward slope. That feeling is real, but it is not a biological alarm on your 40th birthday. Research has never found one universal midlife breakdown. Some struggle, some become happier. Many feel both at once. What we call a midlife crisis is usually a collision between three things: the person you expected to become, the person you actually became, and the sudden realization that time is no longer infinite. Ancient humans had the third problem. They understood death. But the first two looked different in a world without promotions, retirement plans, personal brands, or social feeds full of people doing life better than you. To understand why, we first have to kill a persistent myth about prehistory. You have heard that ancient life expectancy was around 30. That number is not entirely false. It is easy to misunderstand. Life expectancy at birth was dragged down by infant and childhood mortality. If many children die before age 5, the average collapses, even when many adults reach their 50s, 60s, and beyond. Studies of hunter-gatherer populations suggest that people who survived childhood had a real chance of reaching middle and old age. In several groups, common adult death was close to 70. So a 45-year-old was not a miraculous fossil with dusty knees. Middle-aged and older adults were present, and their presence mattered. Human longevity creates an evolutionary puzzle. Why maintain bodies for decades after their fastest reproductive years? One answer is that an older human could produce something more valuable: knowledge. Imagine two hunters. One is 22, stronger, faster, and willing to sprint toward almost any bad decision. The other is 50. He cannot run as fast, but he recognizes a hoof mark erased by rain. He knows where animals move when the dry season lasts too long. He remembers the water hole that survived an old drought. Strength peaks early. Judgment takes time. Many foraging skills are slow to master: hunting, tracking, finding underground foods, predicting weather, treating injuries, negotiating with neighbors, and remembering which plants heal and which make your final afternoon memorable. These are not weekend skills. They accumulate through decades. In a modern office, an older employee can be treated as expensive software the company would prefer to stop updating. In a small, uncertain group, an older adult could be a living backup system. When disasters arrived, memory became survival equipment. The oldest person might be the only one who remembered where to go. This is even clearer with grandmothers. Among the Hadza hunter-gatherers of Tanzania, researchers observed older women digging buried tubers and feeding grandchildren who could not yet gather enough for themselves. A younger mother with an infant has limited time and energy. A grandmother can feed older children while the mother cares for the baby. This idea became known as the grandmother hypothesis. It does not explain all human longevity, and anthropologists debate the details. But it points to something important. For humans, becoming older did not mean becoming less useful. It could mean becoming useful in a new way. Your role shifted from producing children to protecting a network of children. From carrying the heaviest load to knowing which load mattered. From learning the rules to remembering why the rules existed. Middle age was not a cliff separating youth from decline. It was a transfer of responsibility. And that transfer gave people something modern adults often struggle to find: a recognized reason to be their exact age. Modern life divides us by age. Children learn, adults produce, older people retire. Ancient life was less tidy. There was no day when the group handed you a carved wooden watch and announced that usefulness was over. Tasks changed with the body. You hunted less and repaired tools more. You carried less and watched children more. You took fewer risks and gave more advice, whether young people wanted it or not. This mattered because usefulness remained visible. Today, much of our value becomes abstract numbers: salary, title, followers, house price, retirement balance. Those numbers invite comparison. Ancient contribution was harder to separate from daily life. The child you kept alive was in front of you. The tool you repaired was used that afternoon. The story you remembered changed where the group camped. Purpose did not need to be found in a book, a retreat, or a 12-part online course. It arrived each morning asking for breakfast. There is another reason this crisis hits so hard. We build identity around specialization. Ask someone who they are, and they often answer with a job. I am a lawyer, a teacher, a designer, a manager. That works until the career stalls, the company replaces you, or the goal feels nothing like the brochure promised. Ancient identity was spread across relationships and abilities. You might be a hunter, parent, sibling, toolmaker, singer, negotiator, storyteller, healer, and the person who could imitate a rival leader so well that everyone nearly choked on dinner. Losing strength threatened one part of the self. It did not erase the entire person. Because survival depended on cooperation, identity was confirmed by other people. You were not privately inventing yourself. You were somebody's mother, uncle, partner, teacher, rival, and friend. That world offered less freedom to become anything, but it also offered fewer opportunities to feel like nothing. This is where romantic versions of prehistory go wrong. Ancient life was not a wellness retreat with perfect community. It was dangerous. People lost children. Partners died suddenly. Injuries became permanent. Groups fought. Individuals were mocked, excluded, abandoned, and sometimes killed. Older adults were not always revered. Their treatment varied. In famine, a person who could no longer contribute might face a horrifying reality. And prehistoric people could absolutely question their lives. We cannot excavate a thought. No fossil can tell us whether a hunter stared into a fire and regretted every choice. The claim is not that ancient humans never suffered identity crisis. The claim is that their society did not mass-produce our specific version of it. They had pain. We added performance reviews.
Modern middle age combines pressures that rarely existed together before.
You choose a life path when you are young enough to know almost nothing about yourself. Then you spend decades climbing. Industrial society separates work from home, young from old, and success from visible usefulness. Eventually, the ladder stops. Perhaps you reached the top. Perhaps it leaned against the wrong wall. Perhaps someone younger arrived with more energy and software confidence. Meanwhile, consumer culture delivers its diagnosis. The problem is that you look old. Buy youth back. Change your face. Change your car. Change your partner. Convert fear into a payment plan. Ancient humans feared death, but they were not surrounded by an industry calling aging a personal failure. They did not expect to remain 25 forever. Age took things from them, but it also gave them a new position. Our culture describes what middle age loses and stays quiet about what it is for. So why did ancient humans never have a midlife crisis? Some probably did, in ways we would recognize. But for most of human history, middle age felt less like an expiration date because it came with an exchange. Less speed, more judgment. Less novelty, more knowledge. Fewer possible lives, more responsibility for the lives connected to yours. Ancient people did not solve the meaning of life. They lived in groups that gave meaning a job to do. That may be the real lesson. The cure is probably not pretending to be young again. It is becoming necessary in a new way. Teach what took you 20 years to learn. Become the person others call when the map stops making sense. Build an identity that cannot disappear with one job. Invest in people who will carry something of you forward. Because the ancient advantage was never more time. They had a clearer place inside the time they had. And perhaps middle age stops feeling like the beginning of the end, when your experience finally belongs to more people than just you.